Welcome back to the show. It is Parkinson Awareness Month, the entire month of April, an important conversation to talk about, to raise awareness and, of course, tell you how you can support Parkinson Canada. I'm joined by one of its wonderful ambassadors, Brock Carlton. Brock, welcome to the show. Wonderful to have you here. And Brock, actually, I'd like to start off talking about, your personal connection and your story and your diagnosis. Walk us through the beginning of your diagnosis and your journey.
Sure. So around 2017, I started to feel a bit of a shake in my hand. So I went to see my GP, and he sent me off to a neurologist, and she identified my symptoms as an essential tremor, which is a non-progressive neurological disorder that has a bit of a tremor to your hand. Things kind of progressed. I went back to see her in 2021, and she said, oops, you know what? I got to change that diagnosis from essential tremor to Parkinson's. So I figure I've had it for about 4 or 5 years now.
Okay.
The fundamental symptom is a tremor, which is typical of Parkinson's. So, I can't pour up myself a beer. I was just visiting my sister in Calgary, and I was saying, don't serve me Alberta steak. I wouldn't be able to cut it. And typing on a computer, doing fine motor control movements with my hands is really hard. I also have some sleep issues. Very common in Parkinson's to have sleep disruption.
Okay.
So once or twice a night, I get up and just do stretches, and it seems to really help take away the possibilities of insomnia. I have some challenges with motor control. I just came back from a week in a backcountry lodge in British Columbia. You were talking about the weather up at the top.
Right.
I left. It was minus 20 and 2 meters of snow just 2 days ago. But I was supposed to be powder skiing, which I've done many times in the past, but my body just wouldn't do the subtle movements, the subtle shifts in balance. So I did a lot of snowshoeing. And I also, well, it was still, I have a huge gratitude for being able to do that at some point in my life. And I really enjoyed the conversations with the other skiers because I could sense their joy.
Right.
I also have some voice challenges. My voice gets softer, and my wife is always saying, I can't hear you. Can you repeat that? And it's a bit of a sense of tension between us. So that's kind of what I'm dealing with right now. And it's a progressive disease, so it will get worse.
Well, obviously, as an ambassador for Parkinson Canada, you, I imagine, reached out to Parkinson Canada. How have they helped support you through all of this?
Parkinson's Canada is a great organization. They do a lot of research. So when I was first diagnosed, and I was telling my kids and my wife, and everyone was going on the Parkinson's Canada website to read about the disease, get information. They do a lot of research. They do a lot of medical testing and medical research to support the people who have Parkinson's. They also organize support groups around, so that I'm part of a support group that connects once a month just to talk about the issues that we're facing. They also organize things like, I've been connected to a Tai Chi program at Ottawa U through Parkinson's Canada, because there's some studies going on about whether Tai Chi is beneficial to people with Parkinson's. I do spinning once a week in the Wednesday mornings with a group that I connected with through Parkinson's. So there's a variety of mechanisms that Parkinson's sets up to support people with the disease. I should also say that it's not just me. It's not just about the people who have the disease. It's also their spouses who are also hugely affected by this. So my wife is recognizing that she's going to be my primary caregiver and my advocate at some point as this disease progresses. And she didn't want this. This was not something she chose as a role, but she's got to work that out. And when I exercise and do things to support my disease, I'm actually doing it also to help support my wife, and hopefully she can continue to live her life in a way she wants without being too diminished in her own life because of my condition.
Brock, funding is obviously incredibly important. I know you put on, Parkinson Canada puts on a walk every year, and they have a pedaling event as well. All of that money, of course, goes into research and to programs like you've just described. How can people help support Parkinson Canada?
Well, it's a great question. I mean, you can go on the website and see what's there. There's certainly the fundraising, the walk that you mentioned, and other ways of donating financially to the organization to support the research and the programs that support people like me. There's webinars that, for example, I just can check my dates here. On April 13th, there's a podcast from Parkinson's Canada CEO on what it's like to live with Parkinson's. On April the 21st. There's a webinar on Parkinson's Canada's programs and what it has to offer. So so people can engage that way. There's also volunteer opportunities through Parkinson's Canada, and ways that just to support the organization and support people like me and others who are struggling a bit with this disease.
Yeah, well, and as you said, and help support the caregivers, as you mentioned, so important to bring that up, because they're part of that journey alongside you as well. Brock, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate you, sharing your personal story with us as well. As Brock said, that website is a fantastic resource. ParkinsonCanada.ca is the place to go. We'll be back with more Daytime Ottawa right after this.